Welcome to Vatech America's Lunch and Learn series. I'm Jim Mayer, Education Team Director.
I'm Paul Satone. I'm the West Coast Education Specialist for Vatech.
Paul, here we are again with one of our Lunch and Learn series, 15 minutes covering some really essential topics for hardware and software for our Vatech product line. Paul, before we get started, let's talk about really two new exciting developments we have within Vatech. Number one being a new product we've just launched, the Vatech Green X. So this is a new CBCT device, also includes the pan, optional SEP, and a couple exciting things about this. We have a 49 micron sensor, and really this is a device that encompasses large field of view all the way down to the smaller field of view. And Paul, why don't you tell us a little bit about those different fields of view and the availability on specifically to this device?
So we have largest field of view is going to be 18 by 15, so you'll capture the inferior border of the chin into the sinus, TMJ, airway. So nice large size field there, all the way down to a 4 by 4, really focusing on for endo and really give you the quality on there.
Yeah, we do have, some of the fastest scan times really in the industry. We can, options of SEP you can see here at 1.9 seconds. Our pan, you can take that scan all the way down to a 3.9 second scan on the pan and a 2.9 second scan on the CBCT. So some really good development on this new product line. So if you want to check that out, you can go to our products and look at more about the Green X. Paul, the other big development we have is our new Education Academy, and encompasses a lot, really everything Vatech Education. It's one place to do everything. If you want to schedule training with us, you can do your online scheduler here. And then Paul, tell us a little bit about our video resources and everything on here for our video library.
Well, we've condensed and put all the videos in one place here, so you can see under videos and resources now, we have them all organized by devices, 3D imaging, 2D imaging, sensor under intraoral, and then we've separated the software and the webinar categories we've added into here, which is really nice. Everything's divided by product and software.
So if you do have questions or you want to find out other recorded sessions, check out that Vatech Education Academy. So today we're going to talk about the nerve trace tool, specifically located on your upper toolbar on the upper left-hand side, draw canal. And Paul and I are going to demonstrate tracing the inferior alveolar nerve. The first thing I do is I go down here to my 3D and I turn this to the left because I want to look at my blue line, and I know I want to drag this down into the mandible. And what I found is if I come out to the end and I rotate this to follow the speed of the jaw, this will allow me to scroll on my axial slice. I can see my mental frame in here, and a lot of times I can also see mental frame in here, and sometimes the lingula back in the ramus here. But for this practice, we're going to find the mental frame. I'm going to grab my slices and move them right to the center of the desired ridge. And I'm going to go ahead and rotate my sagittal slice across. And as I'm rotating this, I'm actually looking up here on my sagittal window on the upper right, or wherever that is located for you. So watch what happens as I rotate my line here. We can see more of that nerve in my sagittal window. So for this exercise, I'm going to go ahead and double click and enlarge my sagittal window. And I can also come here and hit the space bar to toggle off those lines. So right now I'm using the wheel on my mouse, and you can see as I go lateral to medial, I'm looking here to identify my nerve. So I can see my superior border here and my inferior border here. As we keep scrolling through, we can follow it with that molar there. And let's keep following it forward. You can see your mental frame in here. I'm just going to keep using the wheel on my mouse. I can see it here, and then let's scroll back the other way, and we can see our anterior loop right there. So usually what I do is I scroll back and forth to locate that nerve. Now what I'm going to do is go up to my draw canal, and I'm going to go ahead and left click and place my points. So here I'm unable to see where the canal progresses, so let's scroll, place a point, and then keep placing our points through here. I'm placing these at the center of the nerve, and your software is going to be defaulted for a 2 mm canal. So as I keep scrolling here, just placing my points, I can see this does loop up, and here's my mental framing. So let's double click and complete that tracing. Now I can see my nerve traced on there. So if I come up here and double click again, we can look at our 3D rendering here. We can see the nerve traced on our rendering and on all of our windows. All right. One thing I did see here a little bit was possibly a small anterior loop. So I'm going to double click here. You can see as I follow my nerve here, here's my anterior loop here, but let's look and see this little branch that comes forward. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to place a point and keep scrolling, and I can follow this forward. And we can double click to finish that little branch right there. And let's look back at our 3D rendering. We have our nerve traced on our patient's right side there. So that was a demonstration of nerve specifically from the MPR window in the sagittal plane of view. Paul, do you want to take us through the next step of some other ways to draw the nerve?
Absolutely. So as Jim said, there's definitely several different ways to trace the nerve in the software. So another area you can do it very easily is going to be the 3D pan tab. So I'm going to go up and navigate to my 3D pan tab up top, and I have my 3D rendering up top and my section slices down on the bottom here. I'm going to go ahead and position my navigation window over the area that we want to trace below. So I'm simply going to grab inside of my navigation window. I'm going to move it down on this side of the arch that I want to trace, and I'm going to angle that navigation box. So I'm going to grab my blue dots on either side here, and I'm basically angling this so I'm perpendicular with the nerve itself in the direction of the jaw there. So I have my 3 red lines, which are my 3 slices down here, so I can scroll back and forth and kind of visualize that nerve first. So I'm going to scroll all the way forward until I can see that mental foramen down here in my slices, and we can see it right here. I'm going to double click and zoom in on my slice there, and then from here I can go ahead and simply trace it right on my section slices here, all the way back. So I'm going to go ahead and click on our nerve trace draw canal icon right here, and start it a little bit outside of that mental foramen exit there, and a series of clicks. Now to move position, now to move more posterior, I'm just going to use my scroll mouse, scroll back, click my nerve position, scroll back, and just repeatedly do that all the way until I want to finish it. So I'm going to click scroll back. I'm clicking right in the center of that canal, which we can clearly see there. And I can also edit it after. So I'm just going to click scroll back. About every 1/4 inch or so. And to finish it, I can keep going, or if I want to finish it, I can simply just double click, and that will complete my nerve tracing there. So, and I can verify it. I can scroll back more anterior to view that. If I want to double check it. If I need to edit any of those points, if I realize I was a little bit off, I can always do a right click and select edit canal. So I'm just right clicking directly on that virtually traced nerve, select edit canal there. And then you can see all these points here that you've placed. I can just simply grab them and move them if I need to edit them. and then double click to save that again. It's going to say you want to apply the changes. I'm going to say OK, and that will complete my tracing there. So these slices that we're on, I'm double clicking to zoom in and out of them. These slices here are the red lines in the navigation box, and they are designated by distance. If I do a right click and select interval, so interval is the distance between those slices, you can see I have mine set to 1 millimeter. So you can simply change that measurement if you want to switch it to, let's say, 2 millimeters. Now those red lines are now 2 millimeters apart. So that is how a really quick and easy way to trace it on the 3D pan.
Yeah, so we've really covered all two separate ways, the 3D pan and the NPR.
Right.
Maybe we should go ahead and look at some of those edit features or the right click feature. So let's go back to our nerve there and go ahead and right click on your nerve. And let's go to the properties. And what property is going to do, it's going to allow you to change the canal diameter and also the color. So if you want to enlarge that, now we are 3 millimeter and maybe change that to red, it's going to change that to that nerve. So a lot of offices like this, because you can differentiate right side to left side, gives it a different color. But those are some of the right click features specific to drawing that canal.
Right.
And then I'm going to grab control here. Let's move this here to this patient's right side. And if I right click here on the little anterior branch, I can also delete that off of there. So you can see I deleted my branch off of there. Or if I right click, we can hide the nerve. Let's do our hide. And then to get that back, we're going to come up to our measurement drop down. Going to go to our on and off. And we can see here on our toolbar next to on and off, we have this show manager. And we can turn on our canal. Right here, we'll turn on canal number 17 and hit OK. And you can see your canal has been turned back on through there. As far as the color settings here, let's go up to our main menu. And I'm going to go into settings. And if we go down to simulation, you can see our canal defaulted for 2 millimeters. Now I have changed mine to yellow. I believe it does come defaulted to red, but I changed mine to yellow. So you can simply change your defaults here, select OK, and then that will move forward to save those changes for you on any scans on that computer.
All right.
Well, I think we've about covered our nerve trace tool within the software. Is there anything you think we missed?
What about if we quickly show them how to trace it on the section tab?
So let's go over here to NPR. I'm going to grab this and move this back down in the manual. And for your section tab, I'm going to go ahead and go over here to draw curve. I'm going to click around the arch, going clockwise, clicking right in the center of the ridge, all the way around our arch here, and double click. And we can see our pan reconstruction at the bottom and all of our slices over here.
Right.
Paul, do you want to take us through tracing? I'll delete the right side here and I'll let you move forward and navigate through tracing the nerve on the right side there.
Sure. Yeah. So I would say, if you're accustomed to using the section tab, you can really easily trace the nerve on here as well. So you want to see, we can clearly see it on our reconstructed panel here. If I do a right click, we have it at about a 10 millimeter thickness there. And I can enlarge this a little bit if I want to. I can also full screen this. So if I hit the enter key while my cursor is over that pan, I can zoom it in, just full screens for me. And then I can just simply trace it right on here. So I can click on my nerve trace tool and I can trace it right on my pan here. All the way down, right to the mental foramen there. There. So that is another way to trace it on there. And then, you can always jump back and forth between NPR section and 3D pan to get our different views from there.
Yeah, another trick we've learned is, see our pan thickness that Paul was talking about, the 10 millimeters here. Look what happens when we change this down to, let's go to 1/10 of a millimeter. See how we have a really thin slice here? Now what I'm going to do is use the wheel on my mouse, and you can see as I scroll, I'm scrolling out on the buccal side here, that green line. Let's scroll back towards the lingual side, and this is another way to trace where we can really see the detail of that cortical plate. So picking up right here where we left off on the left side, I could come in and go up to my nerve trace, place my point here, place a point here. I really don't see it anymore, so I can use the wheel on my mouse and scroll. And we can then double click and finish that nerve. You can see how we've traced it within the panoramic window there. And if I drag this across, you can also rotate. And Paul, you were talking about using multiple windows here. We could also place a point on our slice and on our pan down here too.
Right.
Yeah, so some different ways to trace that nerve. I think that really covers now we've covered 3 different ways to trace our nerve from the MPR.
Yep.
Let's work backwards. Our sectional, either tracing it in the pan or on our sectional slice here. Our 3D pan, where you manipulated your visualization window here and rotated it and traced down in the sectional slice here. And then we started off on our MPR window where we went into the mandible and we navigated to one arch, rotated across, and then we enlarged our sagittal window and then traced from our sagittal window here.
Right.
So there are 3 different ways to trace our nerve within the Vatech 3DI software.
So thank you everyone for joining us today. If you guys have any questions for the education team, please reach out to us at education@vatechamerica.com.
Yeah, and don't forget about our webinar schedule for upcoming webinars. You can see on the homepage, go to webinar schedule here, and you'll have all of our upcoming sessions found under meetings and events. And then also everything, we have a lot of recordings from past events, so you can find them under the Education Academy, under webinar. We have our software tutorials and also devices over here of 3D imaging, but also have our 2D imaging and even our intraoral sensors. Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us today, and we look forward to our next session with you.
Thank you.